And welcome back to another episode, GPPD podcast. So I'm gonna have to hold it down. My boy Nate's got some stuff he's taking care of. So today we have Officer Connor. Appreciate you coming in, bro.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, easy peasy. Before we get started, wanted to mention a couple things. So it's still grandprairiepolice.org. Hop online. We need good men and women, as most of the cities that we're talking about. You know, there's a bunch of us. But we need some good people to apply. I don't know. We'll have another test coming soon, so just kind of watch the internet, and we'll get that info out to you. We're also needing detention. So we say detention, jail, same thing. We need men and women there as well. Get online because I want to say we're one of the highest paid detention staffs in the Metroplex. So check it out. You won't be mad or sad that you did, I promise. All right, so I think that's it. So, Connor, I appreciate you sitting down with me. We want to talk because I got a lot of questions, especially once you said Colorado. I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. So I want to save them for now. But starting off, let's just, tell everybody how you got to where you are as far as like police work and how you got here.
Sure. One of my close family members, my aunt, was actually LAPD.
LAPD?
Yeah, she recently retired after, I believe, 26 years of LAPD. So growing up, she would tell me stories all the time. Loved hearing those stories. I'm like, oh, this is the coolest job. And then just general mentality that I've had over the years, I think it just fit in the personality-wise and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't really see myself doing anything else. Like especially going to school and everything like that. I got a degree in criminal justice for it.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Loved it. I did a internship for a couple summers while I was in college with my aunt, and loved every bit of it. And she was a auto thefts detective at that point.
Okay,
so
I'm gonna jump in because I don't want to forget this thought. So you said you did an internship with her?
Yeah.
Bro, how cool is that? Like, so I take it you were young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was 19 and 20.
Yeah.
I did 2 separate summers.
Yeah, so she let you, or I guess their protocol, you could go into the station, hang out with the officers, and see and kind of do what they were doing.
Yeah, I think she kind of, mended or bent the rules a little bit because she got me ride-alongs with a lot of the detectives and a lot of the UC units that were in her station.
Yeah.
Like I was doing it ride-alongs with narcotics and vice and property crimes. That was the coolest thing, especially being that young. Like I was watching it all happen and watching, what the real cops do.
Yeah.
Which was really cool and really fun to do.
Bro, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the listeners, when we say like you see undercover,
Yeah,
right?
undercover.
Normally, if you go do like a ride along, like you're gonna fill out the paperwork and you're gonna sit in the front seat with the officer, and we may show you some hot spots in the city or what have you. Yeah. But for you to be able to get in there and go, hey, no, I'm going out with these UC guys. You know what? Let's do some narcotic stuff. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was interesting, and looking back at it now, like you said, it's not normal at all to do that. So I'm very appreciative of my aunt let me do that for months on end.
Look, I'm jealous, I promise. So, Auntie, listen, I need you to come in because I want to talk to her. Does she live out that way, or she's...
No, she lives in Las Vegas now, which most like LAPD lives now at this point.
Oh, okay.
Most of them live in Las Vegas at this point, or Texas. Or Florida, one of the 3.
Yeah. Well, cool. Tell her we appreciate her service. I know it was tough out there, too, as well.
Right.
But, all right, so that's one person. What about, did you have military, like brothers, sister?
No, I have 2 older brothers, and, we're all completely different in every way, shape, or form. Like you wouldn't think we're related until you like put us together, and we kind of look similar. But outside of that, our personalities, our professions, everything like that are completely different. Even for my father, my only link to law enforcement was my aunt.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's funny you say that because I always tell people, like I have a set of my younger brothers. They're twins. Well, hell, I'm only like 5'7", but when I stand next to them, my one brother is 6'5", and his twin is 6'3". And you talk about night and day opposite, bro. Night and day opposite twins, and it's, one is a coach, one's a doctor, one is very professional, the other one's laid back. It's funny, but no, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so she kind of pushed you along and said, okay, you knew early on you wanted the law enforcement thing.
Yeah.
See, I was one of those guys where I kind of got into this because it was like, KD, I think you'd be good at it. And, it's like, okay, cool. Do I get to work outside? Yes. I was, sign me up. But, like, do you have the backing now of your family? Because I saw that you're married. So, like, and I'm going to go out of order, so to speak, but did your wife say, honey, yeah, this is something that, or she's like, oh, I'm a little bit more reserved. You want to be a police officer? What are we talking about? What are we doing?
So we actually met while I was already a police officer, me and my wife. And, she was intimidated just sheer fact because she's never really talked to a cop before. So, it was kind of awkward during the first part of us dating. But eventually she got used to it, especially, hanging out with a couple friends that I had in my previous department. And she actually, got used to it. So it was fine in that sense. But, my family, my immediate family, mom, dad, brothers, they all encouraged me to do it. I mean, they were concerned, obviously, with the nature of our profession, but, they wanted to support me. And my aunt, she actually tried to convince me to be a firefighter because she's like, this is a great profession. You're going to love it. But, there's a lot of people that aren't going to like you. And if you want to be liked and, not be as stressed, become a firefighter.
Okay, so, Auntie, I wanted to talk to you, but no, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, I mean, of course, and we give our firefighters a hard time, but we love them. We work hand in hand, especially here. I know they're stationed out of the same, or the headquarters is here, but no, it's a dangerous job, but, you kind of, the people that love you, they want you to do something less stressful. So, and it's funny because I always ask people, I still get it now. I've been on over 15 years, and my dad, I can call him right now and start talking to him. Are you okay? Do you like doing that police thing? Yes, sir. Pops, newsflash, I'm getting ready to retire in 5 years, So it's like, you want the backing, and I'm kind of cool that I'm glad that your wife is like, no, I understand now.
Yeah.
But because some people, I tell you, it's just hard. Like the fear.
Yeah.
Do y'all ever talk about that? Like she's scared or if you're working nights and it's like, honey, yes, I get scared sometimes. And
yeah. And I think she's used to it now, especially since I have 3 massive dogs, 2 of which are German Shepherds. So she's not scared for her well-being much, but I mean, she's just scared in general when, I'm on duty. She tries to hide it. She doesn't really mention it because she knows, I'm going to start thinking about that when I'm on duty, which is, makes it more difficult. But, for the beginning part of my career, I didn't really talk much to her about my job because I thought I was trying to basically, cover or shield her from her being stressed because if I tell her those stories or which would be our Tuesday and it doesn't really matter to us, but it would matter to her. Yeah. So I was trying to not talk to her about it, but if, later on, I found that it's actually better for me to actually tell her. I'll give her and trinkle it and little drops here and there, but it's better to do that than bottle it all in and not tell anyone about it.
Yeah, no, bro, you're spot on. Have the conversation. Sometimes what we'll do is just try not to go into as much detail. Yeah, it's like, babe, look, I can tell you something. Or this is funny, but it's cop funny.
Yeah, generalize things, not be very specific. Then they start getting concerned more.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm an avid animal lover, and when you say 3 German Shepherds, I'm like, whoa, time out. Wait, back up. 3?
No, 2 German Shepherds and a black lab. So yeah.
Okay, so they're just 3 big dogs.
Yeah, 3 big dogs. Yeah.
How much is your food bill?
I don't even. I've had to guess like $500 or something like that a month. Like it's kind of depressing, honestly.
Well, okay, so I have a Cane Corso, the correct pronunciation, but a Cane Corso, and he eats half raw and half kibble, so I mix it up. And I mean, now I think it's costing me about probably $100 a month. You know, and it's going up because I mean he's full grown, he's 3.
Yeah.
But man, they eat a lot. So do they shed as much as everybody say they do?
Yeah.
See, that would drive me crazy.
It drives my wife crazy. I'm used to it at this point. I've had German Shepherds pretty much all my life, and I'm used to it. But it doesn't matter how much you vacuum or clean or anything. Next day, it's going to be the same exact thing.
Okay.
It's a constant struggle and battle.
Yeah.
Like we have a Roomba that goes on twice a day just to keep up with the hair that's everywhere.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have that? It's some kind of new vacuum. I see it on TikTok, but like you can brush the dog and then push a button and it you know, sucks the hair out.
Yeah, we got that. It doesn't really do much. The only thing that really does much is shampoo and washing them and bathing them is the only real way to do it. Like just brushing them just maintains it for like an hour.
So have you talked her into I think it's called a dog washing station or something? If you got 3 big dogs, you be like, babe, look, I'm going to build this outside on the side of the house and we're going to be done with it.
That will be the next project for sure.
Yeah.
To do that.
Hell, I was thinking about one. I'm like, I got one dog and short hair, but, you know, just sweeping, if I can see a little bit of hair, I mean, it freaks my wife out. And we need to sweep him out. I'm like, yes, ma'am. It's just one dog. Yeah, short hair. So, no, crazy. All right, so you went to school, you said criminal justice degree?
Yeah.
All right, what school did you go to?
CMU, Colorado Mesa University. It's like southwest Colorado, like Grand Junction, if you know where that is.
Okay. Man, I'm going to tell you, I've been up to Colorado Springs, the most beautiful city I've ever seen. And so when I went up there, and that was years ago, I worked for a moving company in the summertime while I was at college, and so we moved some people up there to I'm saying a mansion. It was a 3-story, off in the hills, and I mean it was so beautiful that my boss was like, "Hey guys, we're done with the move, but we're gonna go down here to some resort," and we camped out for like 2 days, and it was so beautiful. Now I think as athletes we go, "No, the air is thin." I'm like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah.
So, bro, I ran down the hill, and mind you, I'm in shape because I'm training every day for football. I ran down the hill, and it was me and another defensive guy working for the same company. And, I mean, we just bent over, and we're like, we can hardly breathe. My chest is hurting, and I'm like, bro, what is wrong? And I'm like, I can't breathe. And he was like, I can't breathe either. And so we were just sitting there, and the other guy's laughing. But did you go through that at all? Been up there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even just like walking around, it's much different. Like trying to get used to it. When I first initially went to college for the first month, I would get migraines every single day because I was from Southern California, so it was completely different. So just being up there and even doing just walking around like to classes and everything like that would just give me a migraine. It was the weirdest thing. I have no idea if that was mainly because of the altitude or because I don't know, dehydration. I don't know, but it was just constantly happening for the first month.
That would drive me crazy. You know, you just popping Tylenol and trying to get rid of a headache, and it's like, what's wrong with you? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm from Cali. It's Colorado air.
And I was a cross-country runner, so I would run pretty much every other day, and I couldn't do more like a mile for the first like month because of the headaches and because of the altitude, and I couldn't breathe.
Look, so I'm about to ask you, well, how long were you a cross-country runner? Like, you know, kind of look, you're not cutting it. You're like, Coach, I can do it. I'm just trying to get used to this altitude.
So I did it in high school. I did lacrosse and cross country in high school. And then when I got to college, I just kind of did it for fun. I wasn't on any team. I was on intramural lacrosse for the first 2 years, but that's about it. But yeah, I kind of just stopped doing long distance running after the first month. I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah. All right. So, and you had mentioned Colorado. So, is that where you got your first law enforcement job?
Yeah. So, part of my degree for the main reason why I chose that school is because my last semester of college is actually the police academy. So in Colorado, most academies are actually generalized, like it's region. It's not like for specific police departments. Some police departments had them, but most of them were just, you go to academy, either you're sponsored by a police department to go to it, or, you could put yourself through it, basically. So in my case, one of the regional academies was right next to my college, and part of getting my criminal justice degree was going to that. Like you had two options. Either you went the law side of where, you just took a bunch of classes and, you plan on being a lawyer or whatever. Yeah. And then the other side is specifically to become a police officer. So
were you sponsored?
No, I was not sponsored when I first went in. I had paid for all of it myself to do it.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Pay to go get your T-Cole,
essentially. Yeah. It was called Colorado Post.
Yeah.
There. So.
Okay, so then you graduate and then you start trying to find what city.
Or during it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right, and so then you got on with the law enforcement, a city up there?
No, close by Durango Police Department in southwest Colorado.
Yeah, so how long were you there?
With Durango, I was there for almost 5.5 years before I came here.
Okay, cool. Now, big jump. So Colorado, first I want to ask, so were you there when some of those laws and things started changing, when they were like, oh yeah, it's legal up here now? Could you see like certain, I guess I want to say neighborhoods, but certain cities, like they were nice cities and then it's not so much because somebody put in the legislation, let's go this route?
I mean, even when I was in college, the town that I was in was very red, very conservative. So they were still, pretty strict. I mean, they had a population, but it wasn't really anything I was concerned about when I was in college. Yeah. But, my wife finished her degree in Denver while I was still in Durango. So I would go visit her all the time. And it's very sad to see because, Denver and that entire area, the Front Range is very beautiful and, different from anything else. But the actual inner city is disgusting. It's terrible. You can go a block and you will see a line of tents or, a bunch of people. And she was staying in an apartment in the inner city of Denver. And, she was basically a basement apartment. And I was always concerned with her because she would have late classes or she was working, she was walking home. I would always be on the phone with her, and it terrified her. She hated it. She hated it because she was always being harassed all the time, the entire time. And I mean, unfortunately, it's not because of the Denver Police Department. It's because of the laws that exists there that prevents them from actually being able to do something.
Because everybody else on the outside looking in is like, no, don't do that. Because especially police officers, it's like we can sit back and tell, no, if you relax the law in this specific area, here's what's going to happen. Yeah. And you got people way up here that make these rules and laws, and they're like, oh, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to bring in, some good revenue. Sure, okay, tax money.
Yeah. But then you're going to be paying for it in other ways.
In other ways, and all criminal elements go up, all of them. So,
and it's sad because Colorado is by far one of the most beautiful states that that exist. And the inside joke that we had at my old department and a lot of people that I talked to is that it was slowly turning into another California. Sorry for the people that live in California, but I mean, you were seeing the red flags that you were constantly like hearing jokes about in regards to laws in California, but it was slowly turning into that. And by the time I left, I mean, we can go into that just in general when I was on patrol there, but it was getting ridiculous to the point of they were trying to discourage you from enforcing the law. Yeah. In every way, whether that's from the judge to the DA to the actual people writing the laws to my own administration, my own police department, and it's sad.
So, and we were talking about this earlier, but I know Nate and I. So, when you say for the listeners, when you say, "Hey, they're kind of discouraging us from doing police work," give me an example.
When I first started, every single controlled substance other than marijuana, because marijuana was already legal in Colorado by that time, was a felony. By my third year of being a cop there, they changed everything into a ticket for controlled substance. If you were above 5 grams, then it would be the lowest felony, which in Colorado, they didn't just have like, misdemeanors and felonies. They had drug felonies, which are basically lower than regular felonies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, essentially, it didn't mean anything. You went to drug court for a couple months, and then, as long as you somewhat passed a drug test, not actually passed, if you somewhat passed it, then, you're good to go. So that's one of the things.
So writing, I don't know, and I laugh only because here, I mean, we're going to give you a ticket, but man, you better have a small amount of marijuana. You know what I mean? And a driver's license and insurance and up-to-date registration. Like all these other boxes you better be good at. But I've heard other cities, and now I'm hearing it from you, like, no, up here, we're writing tickets for like, cocaine residue or cocaine period.
Yeah, like if the drug dealers or even the people that are using the drugs figured this out very quickly, and they just made sure that they were under that 5 grams, so they would just get a ticket. Like some of them were almost so precise that it was like 4.8 grams or something like that, and we would be forced to just write a ticket to them. And beyond that, we were discouraged to even take them on that, because it was technically a drug misdemeanor, but that's essentially a ticket in Colorado.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I began to try to take them still to jail, because I'm like, it's a controlled substance. They need to go to jail for this. Like they need to have a somewhat of a punishment, not just like a slap on the wrist for this. And I was discouraged to do that, and they were basically ordering me to just do tickets.
Cut the ticket.
Yeah, which is frustrating, because that was the main thing I did in my old department was arrest people for drugs.
Yeah.
And in a small town like that, I knew those places, and then they basically took away the thing I loved the most doing.
Dang. Okay, so what you're saying is I need to move up there and I could open up a small business selling scales, because everybody's going to walk around, hey, bro, you got to be up under 5. Here you go. That's crazy.
That's not even the craziest thing. People were getting away with, attempted murder there and getting 2 years unsupervised probation. Like one of the cases I handled was specifically for that. It was a drug deal that got bad. Guy pulled out a shotgun, shot the dude. Dude jumped out a window to get away from him. The guy chased him, got in his car, ran him over with his car, and we saved him. He survived. Yeah. Like we saved him. And then that guy got 2 years unsupervised probation for that. And there was like 3 other females that were involved also, and I think one of them got 1 year unsupervised probation, and the rest of them didn't even get anything for it. That's like, I mean, that's an extreme, but that's the commonality that keeps happening in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, so, and I tell officers, and how many years on total do you have?
Coming up on 8 years now.
Okay. So, and I tell especially the younger officers, it's like, I try not to, and my career, I've been doing this I've been thinking this way for quite some time. I try not to, it'll sound bad, but I don't care what happens to you after you get arrested and then you go down that judicial process, because you can get frustrated.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm going to follow up on this case. What happened? Probation. I did all of this work, X, Y, Z, and we, like you said, you had to chase this guy down and he's running over people, shooting people. Probation.
Yeah.
It's almost disheartening. And, we're not saying, it pull back as a police officer. Yeah. I'm glad you're here, because now you
can actually do things.
There you go. You can do things. It's like, man, that's spot on. That's good. No, he's going to prison. Okay, well, he deserved it. That's what he's acting like.
I just learned after a few years of being that, it's just do your job as best as humanly possible.
There you go.
If they decide to do that stuff, that's going to be on them. They're going to have to justify that. I'm not going to have to justify that. And I mean, it's a crappy mentality thinking about it that way. But I mean, we're only a branch of a tree that's like a huge system.
True.
And as long as we do our job the way we're supposed to, then, we just need to hope for the best, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, okay, so how many years total, you said, did you do up there? 5?
Yeah, five.
All right, so what departments did you work at when you worked there? Or what units?
Just patrol. I was a firearms instructor. I was on SWAT. I dabbled in CIT stuff.
Yeah.
Assisted with that. That was a passion for me to do that, and narcotics. But yeah, those was on patrol. All that stuff was part time. It was never full time for any of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so kind of like our SWAT team here
Yeah.
is not full time.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as your position, now, and forgive me because I'm not a SWAT guy, so I don't know, but we're like sniper, team lead, any of that stuff.
So it was kind of disorganized in that. I mean, we had team leaders, we had team sergeants and everything like that, but we didn't have like specific positions. Either you were in a supervisor position, or you were basically a breaching team, or you were the sniper team. Like that's all we had. Like there wasn't like any coordination in that. Like we didn't have like breachers, point men, anything like that. It was just either you were supervisors, sniper team, or you're like that in-between guy that will do anything from,
All right, and so I have to ask, let's go into this bar sting. I want to hear funny, everything. What happened? So
So this is basically right when I got off of FTO.
All right.
We have a lot of bars in downtown Durango and we have a college, so we have a huge college scene, and there's always thousands of people that are downtown going to these bars. Because either you're doing outdoor things or you're getting drunk. Those are like the two things that college kids or people in their 20s or 30s were doing in Durango, because it was basically a vacation town. It wasn't anything else other than that. So we have these bar stings where we make sure they're not doing basically underage drinking or selling, of this, or like over serving people. That was the main thing. And, me being a brand new cop, not knowing what I'm doing, was just assigned to make sure that the like underage girl that we had trying to buy beer for us was not going to get hurt. That was solely my job. So it was me and one other guy doing this. And while we're in one of the bars, for some reason, I had to go to the bathroom or something like that. And I went to the bathroom, and there's just like a group of 4 guys that are basically like huddled all together, like shoulder to shoulder, like looking downward. I'm like, that's strange. And then,
in the bathroom,
like that's like I don't judge. I'm like whatever's going on it's what's going on. And while I'm waiting for one of the stalls, one of the guys like kind of looks over his shoulder and sees me and turn around and like does like the stereotypical thing that you like see in like when you're teaching elementary school. Psst, psst, hey, you want to buy some Coke? And in my head, I had to register it for a second, so I can just stare at him awkwardly for like 10 seconds. And me being the new cop I am, I basically like sounded like a robot. I'm like, yeah, sure, I would love to buy cocaine. How much do you have? And this guy being, like completely oblivious, he's like, oh yeah, let me show you. He takes out of his pocket, and he had like one of those Ziploc bags, like sandwich bags, just full of cocaine in it. And he's like, yeah, I got this much, man. I'm like, man, I want to buy some of that. Let me go get some money. And I like walked out, and we had 2 guys in UC, and I was one of them. Then we had 2 guys in uniform in a unmarked Chevy outside. So I walk up to them, I'm like, hey, there's a guy selling cocaine in the bathroom. And, we wait for him to come outside, or I encourage him to come outside, because I'm like, hey, I have the money.
Yeah.
And essentially I'm like, hey, I have like $200. How much is it going to give me? He gave me the amount. And I'm like, okay, you mind coming out to my car? And when he came outside, they arrested him. And again, the perspective of my department was they want us to do very specific things. And this was basically my first, slap on the wrist for doing this, and like thinking this way, thinking outside the box of like, trying to enforce, controlled substance. Yeah. They actually got upset with us for doing that. because in their minds, they don't want us. Our job was to do the alcohol stuff, not the drug stuff. And so we actually got reprimanded for that. And they also got upset with us because we had the underage girl with us, even though she was with the other officer, so she wasn't like unprotected or anything like that. But they got upset with us, basically saying that we put her at risk by trying to do an undercover sting with this guy with the, I think it was like 20 grams of cocaine or something like that he had on him. In total, including I think he had like mushrooms or something like that also. But yeah, they got upset with us when we did that.
Okay, so to all my officers listening in Colorado, it's grandprairiepolice.org. Okay, get online. We love laterals. Y'all fill the information out and get your butts down here. Bro, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I don't have to be up there. From what you just told me, that's crazy. One of the things that makes me love my bike unit so much, we could see an issue and I could go, hey, Sarge, let me do XYZ. Because we were going to do something similar to that. Yeah, won't let too much out. But it was like, okay, Katie, get on a bike, put some raggedy pants on or, a shirt, look like that and go out there. And, you know what I mean? It's like, have fun. Let's be proactive and think outside the box. Yeah. The fact that somebody threw something up, it landed in your lap. You walked into the bathroom to use the bathroom. Yeah. And then it's, you shouldn't be paying attention to that. Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, let the Coke go and we'll watch her buy a damn alcohol drink.
And in Durango, it was unfortunately, a lot about image because, like I said, it was a vacation town. So actually, a lot of people from Texas would go there, had their second homes there and would go there during the wintertime or even the summertime to do outdoor activities. And they would never admit it, but it was all about an image thing of they wanted Durango to look like that small, quaint little town that, nothing ever happens here kind of thing, when reality, it wasn't like that at all.
Bro, let me tell you something. Epic Waters is a family place. Come over there with some cocaine. I guarantee you I'm taking you to jail. Period, point blank. I don't care. Yeah, we'll put that image out there. You in some handcuffs. That's crazy. But again, every city, every department is going to operate totally different. Just a quick plug. Guys, do the ride-alongs. Did you do a ride-along with them before you joined?
Yeah, I did 2 ride-alongs before I joined. I was in the academy when they were trying to get me hired on, and I did 2 ride-alongs before I actually got through the entire process. And it was different. I mean, even when I first started, it was different from when I left. Okay. Which like it was more. I don't know how to put it. They encouraged more proactivity in regards to more than just DWIs and domestic violence and stuff like that. They encouraged the finding drugs, finding warrants, finding all these other things when they first came out, which encouraged me to actually to join them. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, it's a small town. I was kind of hesitant to do that because I came from Orange County, which had millions of people. Yeah. I was kind of hesitant, but then after I did the ride along, I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. Like, I can do all these things even in a small town. Absolutely,
Yeah, we could talk about that for another hour. Because, and I always say do the ride-alongs. Number one, every city is different, but number two, you get to see what the culture is.
With because
the officers. Where I came from is like a police chase. No, we're not chasing anybody. Not when it comes to vehicles. Yeah. But here in Grand Prairie, I'm not even making this up. It seems like we chase somebody every shift.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And you would know a whole lot more about that than me. And it's like, bro, almost every shift. Yeah. But you have to do it responsibly, and I think we do because the rules haven't changed. But the minute we start doing stuff crazy and shooting from the hip, so to speak, then Chief will step in and go, we're gonna go ahead and change a few things.
I mean, there's a lot of accountability even before it even gets to the chief for here. I mean, even with the officers, like if you see something, I mean, it's happened plenty of times, or coming from a police department that I never chased anything to doing, chasing here. I was new at it, so it was nice having those officers that were experienced in it and would either help me with a report or say, hey, this is what I would do next time, or even the supervisors were like, I would just do this next time just to make sure you get this out. Keep you safer. Keep you more paying attention to everything like that, which is nice.
Yeah, that's dope.
And for the ride-along thing, I encourage everyone to do a ride-along for any type of police department they do. And it's all about the person you ride with, too. You don't want to have that person that's robotic, that's like, this place is the most perfect place on the planet. Then, there's happy-go-lucky rainbows. Like, you want the guy that's actually going to give you the right answers, or just the answers in general that you might not want to hear. And, even at my last department, I was that guy that, I'm going to tell you the answer, and if you don't like it, it is what it is, but it's the truth.
If you ask, I will tell you. No, it's funny because, like, now, being in community services, I kind of tell people the same thing. It's like, look, I can be in a room full of people, the citizens or whatever, HOA meetings. Don't ask me something unless you want the truth, because if you want a political answer, there's some other people y'all could call and go, hey, we want to talk to so-and-so. You get me in there and you ask me something, I'm going to tell you, and just be honest, because I think a lot of people want honesty.
Yeah.
So.
My wife loves and hates that about me, that I'm that honest. She loves it sometimes, but also hates it other times. She's like, I wish you would lie to me about this instead of being truthful. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So let me ask you, when you're up there, how did you hear about Grand Prairie Police Department?
Actually, my wife. My wife is the one that found me this police department. And,
how did she do that?
She saw that I was like very unhappy with my current police department, where we were living, and everything like that. And I was honestly starting to get really depressed, and it was starting to get really hard to even be motivated to doing anything. And she took the step of like, I'm getting done with school, because she was in school at the time. We can go anywhere we want. Like, both of our jobs are essentially anywhere in the States. We could go anywhere. Yeah. So we decided basically that we wanted to, jump ship out of Colorado and go somewhere that, will be a better life for us. And we decided on Texas. And she basically just typed in, because she doesn't know how to search for police departments. She just typed in best police departments, or top 10 best police departments in Texas. And she basically gave me a list of, I think it was like 5, and then I did the actual research on them. And, I found here, and, I saw the front page, and like, you know what, I'm going to apply, see what it is, take a chance. And, what actually sealed the deal was coming here for the testing, the initial testing, and hearing Chief Cessny talk in the beginning. I know he does it every single time you have these testings, but his speech of like, I let you arrest people, I let you chase people, I trust you. If I'm going to give you a badge and gun to do something, if I trust you to have a badge and gun and to enforce the law, I'm going to entrust you to do your job correctly.
Yes, sir.
And when he said that, and when I went through the entire testing, I called my wife. I'm like, this is definitely the place I want to be. And here I am.
Yeah.
So.
Well, kudos, Miss Connor. We appreciate it. Yeah. So, and I like to ask that because, like you're saying, you can almost think back to the time when you heard that from Chief.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was, Chief died at the time, but he was like, he goes, Katie, your family is just as important as this other officer who's been here for 20 years. Yeah. And I'm like, no, because where I come from, you'd have to be on 18, 19 years to get a weekend off. And I was coming over at 6 years. I'm like, okay, what are my off days? Wednesday, Thursday? Give it to. He's like, no. You're going to get every other weekend off because you need family time. And I was like, okay, he's messing with me, right? Yeah. No, patrol, you listen to me. You get every other Saturday off. Okay. And I was like, holy crap. So a lot of the guys where I come from, that was just, we was like, man, excited.
So I had a similar schedule when I was at my old department. But the one thing that just put the biggest smile on my face is first day of FTO here, they're like, hey, so go ahead and sign up for a lunch. I'm like, what do you mean lunch, like 15 minutes or something? No, you get like an hour. Yeah. I'm like, what?
You gonna feed me, huh?
We get a paid hour of lunch? He's like, yeah, sometimes you don't get it, but most of the time you do if you get a certain time. I'm like, I love it here. And he's like, oh yeah, you get an extra 15 minutes if you work out during your lunchtime too. I'm like, I like it here. That's what made me happy. Like the schedule thing, I was used to it already, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But the getting a lunch, that was great.
Yeah. So I say it's the small things, but as officers, sometimes you can work and not get a lunch. So when I first started, the guys would say, put your, I forget what you call those little plastic lunch pails, but put it next to you. And you eat in between your calls. And I'm like, no, we're going to go to lunch, bro. We're going to go eat. And they're like, you won't have time. Holy hell. I mean, sometimes there's 20 calls holding, and it's just you go and you go. And so sometimes we were not able to get a lunch, and you're right. You're snacking and looking at the notes, going to the next call. And so now it's like getting a lunch. And I haven't been in patrol in some years, but I'm thinking most of you guys and girls are getting lunch on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we have enough people, and, you know, we all see when people have lunch. So we try to, if people are about to get lunch, we try to cover them so they can actually get it. Because, I mean, even at 12 hours, you know, in the middle of the night, it's good to have that disconnect for an hour. I mean, we're still listening to the radio. If something big pops up, you know, we're putting back on our uniforms if we're working out, and we go back out there and help. But it's still a good disconnect to have that break, to not, you know, not have to be dispatched to something all 12 hours. And that helps a lot. And, you know, beyond like, oh, it's cool to, you know, eat and have a break an hour, like the actual mental side of it just helps. It helps tremendously for that.
So, so you mentioned the hour and 15 minutes for working out, and that's something that was new to me coming over here. Of course, I've never worked out on a lunch before, because you're actually just trying to throw some food down, and you know it's only a matter of time, because if they gave you an hour, maybe 35 minutes, and somebody's on that radio going, hey, can you take this call? And you're like, sure. But so here you're allowed to go work out, and they give you an extra 15, because that way you do have time to shower. If you want to go eat, go back, change your uniform, and get back into service. So that was new to me. You said y'all worked 12s at your last department?
It was weird. It was actually 11 and a half.
See, just the math. I'm already out. What? When do I come back? Set your clock. I don't know. Shit.
Yeah, we were initially 10s, but then when COVID happened, we couldn't cover, and we didn't have the staffing to cover a third shift because we had a day shift, swing shift, and a night shift. And you know, when it got to COVID, we wanted to spread it out, so we didn't even do briefings. We had like staggered schedules, so everyone came in an hour every hour, which was weird. And we didn't do briefings at all. It was mainly just like on this basically online forum that we would look at. But yeah, so we did that towards the end of COVID, and that's what we stuck with the entire time. So we only technically had 2 shifts. We had night shift and day shift like we do here.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah. All right, and so I want to kind of talk about the lateral movement or the process, so that some of our other laterals that are listening or guys thinking about it coming. So when you came over, did you do the abbreviated academy?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I did I think it was like 3.5 months or something like that in total.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So GP, we offered the lateral program. If you have the years on, depending on the size, I think, of the previous department, what kind of calls that you answer, you can come over. And basically, we just take your years of service wherever you were, and we plug you right into GP, and you get paid on that pay scale.
Yeah. Yeah, I get paid on that, which was awesome, which was about almost a $50,000 pay raise from my previous department. So I was very, very happy about that.
And so is Miss Connor. She's like, thank you.
Oh, yeah, she is very happy about this.
Yeah. But it's funny you say that, bro. Yeah. When I came over, I looked at my check, and my check doubled. And I went, I'm doing the same. This is police work. Yeah. And then my check's double. And, of course, I showed it to my wife, and she's, bling, yes, that's nice. But, I don't know, we've been up near the top as far as pay here for a few years now. Yeah,
I think us and one other department in the Metroplex are basically even right now, that we're the highest.
Yeah, so, you want to get paid. But I always tell people, if you're thinking about GP, come do the ride along, because, like I said, every department is different, and so you may not be a good fit, and you want to see the culture and talk to the men and women that put the uniform on. So please come do the ride along so that you can see.
And ask those tough questions. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of these officers are laterals. I mean, Knights B, I'm pretty sure is like 95% laterals at this point, and no joke on that. You know, if I encourage people to do the ride-alongs, but not only that, but ask the questions. Don't be, robotic and just ask, like, what is the dynamic of this police department, or like what kind of calls you handle. Like, ask those tough questions, and I promise you, the officers, especially on nights, will answer it. You know,
what the young folks say, they're gonna keep it 100. They're gonna tell you exactly how they feel and what's going on. No, I'm telling you, I love that. I know I was asking not just the schedule, but then like to move. Because where I come from, you have to promote before you can move.
Yeah.
And at least that's how it was when I was there. And I was like, I said, what about here? And they were like, no, 2 years on, then you can go anywhere. You just apply like everybody else. So that is one of the things that, I loved about GP when I first came.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you're here, you work nights, A or B?
B. Yeah.
All right, so... You said 95% of y'all are lateral. That's cool.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I had to put a number to it.
Did you have to get used to what was the hardest thing during the transition? Because, like for me, most of us will say geography unless you grew up around here. But was it no? I had to get used to like some charges or writing tickets this way, or what was one of the things that was just totally just hard to grasp for you?
Just the switching of laws. To be honest, even geography was actually really easy to me just because I'm a huge nerd. So seeing that I have a computer with a GPS on it was like the best thing ever created. And I didn't have that in my old department. I had to like memorize like streets and everything. So geography was pretty simple for the most part. But like just even going through the academy, it was hard to, after 5 years of learning Colorado law, now you're like going basically 180 to a completely different type of laws and how they define them. So that part was a little hard. I needed assistance with my FTO in regards to that, just being like, oh, that's an actual crime here? That's great. And then I'm going to charge them with that, But yeah, that was the main part of it. Everything else just came with time and just, getting used to it. Like the radio, using the radio, like just like the radio call signs and dynamic of that was different from my old department too. So that was a little, that was a little hard, but I got used to it.
Yeah, one of the things that I had to get used to. So when I first started over 15 years ago, they give you a call, and then my trainer would pull over and give you a map and a book, and he would say, "All right, Katie, we got to go here." And now, mind you, the call is already on my computer, but he's not letting you use the map because that system would go down so frequently. You had to know how to use something other than a computer. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, so I need to go north on this road. And you're getting updates on your computer like, okay, the suspect is outside now. And he's putting the pressure on. Like, okay, Katie, come on. Which way? We need to go. And I'm like, wait, does this pay? And bro, you could literally turn one page and it puts you in a different place in the city. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. So I had the hardest time with the MAPSCO, as we used to call it. And then of course, these guys now, they creating stuff on our computers, but I could hit a button and just get directions, and it would tell you turn by turn. So to those listening, we need that at GP. You hit a button, and it gives you turn by turn, even if you're going code 3, which is, lights and sirens. Okay. But, yeah, that's funny you say that because, man, I had some visions going. I was struggling. When I got here, I got a code 3 call to actually help an officer who was fighting somebody. And, bro, I remember I had to pull over, and I was starting to put it in my phone. Yeah. And then, luckily, I saw somebody with lights and siren go by, and I'm kind of like, I better follow
the situation right there.
I'm going to follow them. So, that's crazy. Yeah, good times. So, when you want to digress here, with the fam, what are you guys doing? What is a day in the life of Connor when he's not at work? What are y'all doing?
With my wife, just exploring Metroplex. Like
Yeah.
we like going out to restaurants, and in Durango we had like 10 restaurants in total.
Yeah.
So like we're just cycling through that. We're here, like you can go anywhere you want
I was gonna
within
say.
like a 20-minute drive. So that was nice, and especially going to the stockyards. We like that just environment in general. Like we can just go in there, and it's not just like a bar scene. It's like bring your family. You can like we bring our dogs pretty much everywhere we go. And, going on trails and stuff, walking around. Outside of just hanging out with my wife, I love going shooting. I love going to the range.
Yeah.
I love doing that constantly. Like with friends and by myself, honestly.
Okay, so you said you worked at the range at your...
Yeah, I was instructor. So and there we got into the range for free. So I was going like once a week, and we would get a stipend.
I was about to say,
we get a stipend for amount of rounds, because that was one of the good things about my old department, is that they encouraged us to, outside of work, go shooting and be proficient in your craft. So I would take full advantage of that and go as much as I possibly
so
can.
Connor is the reason that we can't get certain ammo, y'all. It's on back order. No, what rifle or pistol, or you got a little bit of everything?
Both. Yeah, I like doing both. Not really shotgun. I mean, I like shooting shotgun just for funsies and do like skeet shooting, but that mainly rifle and handgun.
All right. So is it true that there's, and I'm gonna butcher the name, but it's an over-under shotgun that's made for competitive shooting, but they say it's like $10,000?
Yeah, it's like, I believe it's called the Olympia, and it's it's a hunting shotgun. Like it's mainly for like foxes, but they use it for skeet shooting also.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful shotgun. My brother's father-in-law actually had a couple, and we shot those like a couple of years ago or something like that, and it was beautiful shotgun. Beautiful.
See, I'm so against the shotguns because it just hurts. It's okay, do you work out your shit? It hurts. I don't.
Yeah, especially when you shoot slug. Yeah. Hurts a lot.
Yeah. So now, do you get your wife involved? Does she go to the gun range with you? Does she shoot?
Yeah, that was one of the things we did when we first started dating. Is she knew nothing about firearms, and I got her into it. And, especially now, I'm very happy that I did that, because I can trust her to be able to defend herself. Defend the house if she needs to by herself. Full encouragement. She even she has a concealed carry permit, and even when she goes to work right now, she still has a gun on her, and her job encourages it. So yeah, it's nice doing that, especially for spouses, because it gives that extra security and feel good when they do.
Well, okay, so, and I know we'll talk off air. I'm gonna give y'all some names of some good steak places to go to that you have to take your wife to. Now, as far as kiddos, do y'all have little ones?
No,
Not
no
yet.
kiddos.
Okay,
It's just dogs.
Just the pups. All right, so before we go, I always ask everybody that we sit down with, what is some, advice that you would give to another lateral or somebody else that's just thinking about, hey, I think I want to be a police officer? What advice would you give them?
I was always told when I was at my last department that the grass isn't going to be greener on the other side. Like, every department's basically the same. Like, they have their own BS and everything. But that is a fabrication and a lie. It is greener on the other side. It was scary moving from one state to the other, and especially a area that I've never been in my entire life up until I actually moved here. I encourage you to take that leap of faith and do that. Trust that it's going to be the right decision, and in my case, it was. Like, I don't regret my decision at all coming here. It was by far one of the best decisions I've made in my life.
Hell yeah. So, and then one last thing before we go. So, when you came down to do the testing for GP, did we make any special provisions like, hey, we know you're coming from out of town, so you can do a couple of the processes that day? Yeah, so I went down for the initial testing and did like the physical and the actual written test, and then I only had to come down one more time, and they grouped everything together. They did the polygraph, the OR board, the psych evaluation, all that stuff was
in that day, in like a 2 days or something like that. So I didn't have to spend basically any money to come here other than the airfare, which wasn't anything.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, cool. Well, man, bro, I appreciate you sitting down with me. It's cool to see these new faces. You know, a lot of us old head officers, we don't see you guys because schedules, and I'm in a whole different part of the building now, but it was cool to sit down with you. So I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right, so until next time, we'll see y'all.